We ran on a little bit, so I will tear through our next introduction, which is our first tech theatre, which is the digital economy, showcasing innovations and transforming global commerce. Whatever that means, I'll leave that to our experts. So in our tech theatre segment, we will present dynamic sessions highlighting the latest innovations transforming global commerce. And I will invite my first speaker, Moez Al-Sibai, General Manager, Digital Advisory and Strategic Programs at SEC at Alibaba Cloud. Please, and give a warm round of applause to our previous panelists and to our new speaker, Moaz, please.
Thank you, Zolf. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I know it's been a long day for everyone. So I'll start with an analogy. So imagine your human body. The cells collect a lot of information in the human body, whether it's the temperature, the oxygen, a lot of things. And the nervous system, that nervous system transmit this information to the brain. And if you think about the cells like the IoT devices, the sensors, that connect a lot of information from the environment, from the various devices they're connected to, and the nervous system like the connectivity that transmits this information to the brain in the context of a human body and in the context of technology and digital ecosystem to the AI. So AI and IoT are very much connected and enabled by the connectivity infrastructure. And this is why we're talking about convergence here. And look at the art of possible out of this synergy of the two. So here I'll talk about one city in China, the city called Hangzhou. If anyone has visited Hangzhou here, it's an amazing city. It's also cloud. It's called the Cloud Valley, like the Silicon Valley in San Francisco and the Cloud Valley in China is Hangzhou. And Hangzhou, you've got a proper, I would say, significant implementation of a smart city. You look at the cameras that are connected to very significant command centers. And these help in many things. Things like visual pollution. If you like, the video analytics will detect things like rubbish on the streets, abandoned cars, problems. Think about traffic management and enabling the flow of traffic and adaptive green waves where the green lights connect with each other to make sure that the traffic is connected. Think about an event like the Asian Games that took place in Hangzhou. 20,000 athletes of hundreds of thousands of people. And I heard, I wasn't there, I visited the city twice, but I heard from people who were there that the crowd management was flawed because everything was connected and the intelligence was there. So the city of the future, and there are a lot of things about safety and security and what have you. I mean, one of the implementations I've seen in the city whereby with the cameras, with the CCTV cameras, it automatically detects things like incidents, collision, and it triggers the emergency services automatically. It doesn't require human connection to ensure that they attend to the incidents. This is very significant. It improves people's life. It improves the livability of the city, and also it drives investment. Let me give you another angle. Think about the retail. And on the retail, we've seen AI and we've seen intelligence for a long time. When you go to Amazon and you see, other products to buy, other products to consider, and you see recommendations, this is an implementation of AI, but this is getting even more advanced with more and further personalization. There's a report by McKinsey. The report claims that personalization will lead to up to 30% increase in revenue on retail and e-commerce. And think about this for a moment. So if a retailer has a business of $1 billion, and if they're able to increase the revenue by 30% through personalization, that's a $300 million per annum. That is a significant number. And this is what personalization can bring. McKinsey, in the same report, expected that $800 billion will be generated by 2030 as a result of use of technology and AI for personalization, and for content creation and other aspects of AI. This is just on the retail. I'll take you to another one. If you see this picture, what do you think? I mean, normally I look at this picture and I think of a smart city command center, or I think about a cybersecurity control center or what have you, yeah? But this is actually a picture from a hospital and the solution called Spot. There is a medical condition, I didn't know about it, but I got to learn about it by talking to the people who implemented this solution. There's a medical condition called septic, and the medical condition actually causes death 3 times AIDS, prostate cancer, and breast cancer combined in the US. So it's quite significant. And basically, if you're able to detect the diagnosis of the sepsis early, that will save lives, and that is saving lives. And every hour of later diagnosis increases the chances of death by 7%. So here comes IoT and comes the use of the artificial intelligence, connecting the data of the health patient, connecting it to wearable devices, and being able to analyze the data in real time will trigger actually the system to say, okay, here we go, we've got a risk of a diagnosis. And these technicians will actually phone up the medical doctor and say, look, we're detecting this with a patient, and they will alert and they connect to it immediately. And this system is actually saving lives. Forget about the previous lives of us who've been in technology for a long time, where the conciliation or reconciliation of data used to happen in the evening, during the batch processing. This is real-time data being collected and being used for diagnosis, exactly like when we talked about the human body and the analogy of the nervous system. So what is behind all of this? I mean, today, if you go to Hugging Face, which has a lot of these AI models, there is more than 1.5 million models today. And this is one of these models. And this model, what it does, and I'll connect it with some of the use cases, but I want to give an example of how these foundational pieces work. So this model moves an image to a video. And you can see here, actually the image is not working well, but you can see here, like, the writing there would say, okay, this is a girl moving towards if you like, a hurricane or something like this. And actually the automation is done by the system. Look at the other one, and here you're given this base image, and this is turning it to someone speaking with the right, if you like, animation that goes behind it. Similar to here, this lady, this is the base image, this is the reference image given to the system, and this is the lady singing. And then connect it to the personalization topic I talked about. Because here you're talking about using the right reference image in the context of personalization, so you can bring the right local person for the locality. You can bring in the right gender, if you like, the right age, if you're implementing this for education and what have you. So there is a lot of implementation in this. As I said, 1 out of 1.5 million models that exist today in Hugging Face. So there is a lot of evolution going on. So are we done? I mean, when we talk about 1.5 million models in Hugging Face, where are we on this phase? Is it saturated? Is it done in terms of the revolution that's going on with AI? So I'll give you a little story. So we celebrated Eid in this region, and I was there sitting in this Eid event, and there was a medical doctor, and he was talking about an implementation of AI in their hospital. So what happened? They implemented something like ChatGPT. And this is warning me that I need to finish now. So they implemented something like ChatGPT, and the ChatGPT or this system give input, like you go and you do your blood test, and this input is sort of gone into this system, and the system will tell you, okay, this is the anomaly potentially could cause problems, and anomaly could potentially cause death. And he's saying this AI only created havoc of people panicking. So there is a long way to go when it comes to these. And in my job today, I do a lot of search for AI use cases that are replicable and applicable. And to be honest, it's not an easy job. There are a lot of models, but a lot of customization is required. So this is just the beginning of the journey. On the A to Z scale, we're just still at A. And there is a long way to go as we sort of modernize. As we sort of advance. So let me, because I need to connect this to the, I'd like to connect this to the, if you like, to the event and why we're here. So PwC did an exercise and looked at the return and the GDP contribution of AI. And the expectations, because you know UAE is investing something like 1.5 trillion in the next 10 years in technology and other things. And UAE is expected to lead something like 90 plus billion dollar by 2030, just from the AI economy. How is this going to happen? Think about, you know, how AI sort of evolved, because eventually you evolve to agentic AI. And agentic AI, this is context aware, this is independent, and it's action. This is what the agentic AI will lead. And you think about all sorts of specializations, because this is replacing a human in a sense, and this is replacing millions of functions. And if we're able to create enough of these, and this is the challenge where you're an economy like UAE and other economies, if you're able to create these and serve others, you can imagine you could be a country of 3 million population, 4 million population, but producing 1 billion agents that are serving the global economy. And think about the economic impact as a result. So I want to pause here and get you to think about also the value chain that AI brings and the amount of opportunity that brings to us. There is a lot of components on the value chain when it comes to AI. So I'll pause for a second to get you thinking about what roles you could potentially play on the AI. The opportunity is big. We're just at the beginning. And the challenge is there to create huge amount of impact and huge amount of opportunity. With that, I'll leave you, and I'll leave my information there. If you would like to connect, I'm happy to dialogue about this. And I'll hand over to my dear colleague and friend, Ijaz. And Ijaz, maybe you start with an introduction about yourself, about your profile, and get you to go deeper into this stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. So, good afternoon. My name is Ijaz Munsif. I'm from Dell Technologies. I'm based in Singapore. I'm the global head for smart cities. I've been with the company for a long time, in the IT industry for a long time. Yes, sir, I need that. So, we've been hearing a lot about investments and digital economy. We are in the digital economy portfolio, but I'm going to talk about from a city point of view. So after all, I'm the head of smart cities, for Dell Technologies globally. So I think Moaz just laid the foundation for us. So, when you think of a city, right, embracing digital transformation at a city level, or thinking of digital commerce or digital economy as a city, what are some of the things we need to think of? I have a very short window here to share some thoughts and reflections with you. So cities, if you heard across the hall, by the way, is the Future Cities portfolio, and there were some very interesting sessions over there and discussions. Most of us live in urban areas in big cities. Cities are living, breathing organisms, as one of the Director Generals talked about. Cities cover 4% of the landmass, only 4% of the landmass in terms of area, and house 55% or 60% of the population, which is expected to grow to 70% by 2050. Maybe these numbers are already, have been exceeded so far. Cities contribute to 80% of the global GDP, economic activity. And most of it is digital, by the way, as we know. Cities account for 75% of global energy consumption. Think about that. And 70%, we contribute to 70% of the global greenhouse gas emissions. So sustainability, the environmental, stuff becomes very, very important. And that's why the digital transformation at a city level is so important. So when you think of city or a smart city, let's say, we are in one of them, by the way, in Abu Dhabi. Dubai, Abu Dhabi rank among the top smart cities in the world. I'm based in Singapore. Singapore is consistently ranked very high. In fact, they refer to themselves as smart nation. So when you think of this, look at all the different elements in a city, right? Utilities, transport, airport, schools, hospitals, police, roads. So safety and security become so important. And how livable are cities? How safe are they? How happy are the citizens? Now, what do you not see in this picture? People. So cities are not about buildings or infrastructure. Cities are about people. Of course, the people are there. It's just that it's not shown on this slide. So at the end of the day, it's about the livability factor of a city and how safe and secure the people and how happy they are, right? How sustainable is the environment, the climate, the air that they breathe. Lately, if we notice here in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, the air we are breathing is not very healthy, right? And it's very seasonal and depends on the year. So now, the other thing that comes to mind in a city like this, where millions and millions of people are living, in fact, they mentioned today that in terms of mega cities, there are 30 mega cities in the world today. Mega city is 10 million plus population, and that's going to grow significantly. So we are talking about millions and millions of people. What else comes to mind here? Data. There's huge amounts of data being generated. What else comes to mind? Sensors and IoT devices. Many of these systems or subsystems are interconnected. They are talking to each other, and more data is getting generated. And we can stay on that picture and talk all day about it. The other thing, as Moaz talked about, is wherever there is data, you have AI, right? When you talk of digital transformation today or even digital economy, you cannot not talk about AI, right? AI has to be part of every discussion. And smart cities are becoming smarter with the help of AI, with data and AI to become even smarter, and that's something called cognitive cities, where those different systems can talk to each other in an autonomous way, even take some decisions in an autonomous manner. Cognitive systems also means humans and machine interacting with each other. So AI, of course, is given. The other thing, when you think of a city is like an edge. So there's AI-driven digital transformation happening at the edge. Edge is where we all live. Edge is where action happens. Edge is where data is getting generated. More than the world's 50% of the data will be generated at the edge. And that data will have to be stored, managed, protected, and acted upon in real time at the edge. There is no time to send the data back to the data center, to the core, and for the result to come back. It has to be done at the edge in sub 20 milliseconds. So that's why a lot of compute and processing and storage is moving towards the edge. And that's the concept called data gravity. And when you think of AI, you cannot bring data to where your AI is. You have to bring AI to where the data is. In this case, closer to the edge. And again, if you were to put on a digital economy hat, after all, that's what the session this is, look at all the digital economic activity that's happening, both from the public sector and private sector. So this AI thing is moving and evolving at such a fast pace. There's a lot of hype about AI. We need to be able to separate the signal from the noise and focus on what's really important. And without data, without lots of data, and without high quality data, there can be no AI. A lot of people rush into AI without tackling the data problem first. In fact, 60% of the time you should be focused on the data first, before you even jump onto the AI models, fine-tuning, inferencing, etc., all of that. So there's like an AI race going on globally between countries, between corporations, etc. So the AI or data is the differentiator for AI. Once again, you need lots of data in the right format and high quality data. Today we are all cities and we are all drowning in data. We don't know what to do with it. It's not well organized, it's not very accessible, or the right people who need access to it don't have it. And then how, of course, there are many other issues which have been discussed about data privacy, and where should data live, how do you secure the data, security, regulations, compliance, because AI has to be done in a responsible manner. We talked about people-centric cities. It's all about people. In Japan, the Smart City Institute of Japan, they introduced something called the Livable Well-Being City Indicator, LWCI. After all, a city is not about roads or buildings or drones and autonomous cars. Does that make people happy? You can have a lot of that. It doesn't make people happy, right? So how do you measure the happiness of the citizens or the constituents? And so they came up with something called LWCI in Japan. So this has become a standard in Japan now, and it's like very well laid out and thought through. So there are subjective and objective 28 indicators that they track that really give you a good measure of happiness of the citizens of a city. So this has become standard in Japan. Not only in Japan, nothing like this exists in the world. So United Nations and UN Habitat and many other countries and organizations around the world want to learn from Japan and want this to become a standard for measuring the livability or the happiness index of a city. So I just thought I'll share that with you because it's quite interesting. But this is the future. This is where we are headed. AI-powered smart cities that will become even smarter with the use of data and AI, and become what we call cognitive cities. Cities that can think, that can sense, that can be predictive. They are always a step ahead, right? I mean, we are living in one of those cities. Of course, this is just the beginning. There's a lot more progress needs to be made. And how do we make it sustainable, equitable, and accessible for all? And I know I talked a lot about cities. Let's not forget the people who don't live in the cities, right? So we are not going to leave them behind. We have to bring everybody along this journey. Thank you very much.
I'd like to comment on your metric there on the happiness index. And anybody here knows happy wife is happy life. It's a very simple metric. Ajaz, thank you very much. In fact, the UAE also has a Ministry of Happiness as well. If I could ask Moaz to join us on stage for a picture, and then I'll introduce the next panel.